Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, this motion is moved under Rule 55 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, whereas Parliament enacted the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Cap 118, to provide for the prohibition and prevention of money laundering, the establishment of the Financial Intelligence Authority and the Financial Intelligence Authority Board in order to combat money laundering activities, to impose certain duties on institutions and other persons, businesses and professions who might be used for money laundering purposes, to make orders in relation to proceeds of crime and properties of offenders, to provide for international cooperation in investigations, prosecution, and other legal processes of prohibiting and preventing money laundering, to designate money laundering as an extraditable offense, and to provide for procedures relating to suspicious transactions and other related matters, aware that Schedule 2 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act sets out a list of accountable persons to enable the combating of money laundering, noting that Section 142(2) of the Anti-Money Laundering Act provides that the minister responsible for finance may, by statutory instrument and with the approval of Parliament, amend the list of accountable persons in the second schedule by deleting from the list any person or category of persons not being used and not likely to be used in the future for money laundering purposes. And whereas the minister responsible for finance proposes to amend Schedule 2 relating to accountable persons to remove non-government organizations, churches, and other charitable organizations, or non-profit organizations as required by the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, and to enable risk-based supervision of non-government organizations, churches, and other charitable organizations or non-profit organizations under the Non-Government Organizations Act, Cap 109, cognizant that the minister responsible for finance, in accordance with Section 142(3) of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, consulted the board of the Financial Intelligence Authority, which agreed with the minister's proposal to amend the Schedule 2 relating to accountable persons to remove non-government organizations, churches, and other charitable organizations or non-profit organizations, noting that the minister responsible for finance, in accordance with Section 142(3)(b) of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, by notice in the Gazette, gave the persons to be affected by the proposed amendment at least 60 days notice to submit written representations to the minister, and no such person submitted any representations to the matter. Now therefore, be it resolved by Parliament that Schedule 2 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act be amended with the approval of Parliament in accordance with Section 142(2) of Cap 118 to remove non-government organizations, churches, and other charitable organizations or non-profit organizations as required by the Financial Action Task Force, FATF. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, I beg to move.
The motion is seconded. Honourable Sarira, Honourable Kero, Honourable Itungo, Honourable Nankabira, Honourable Rusoke, Honourable Yamukama Fred, Honourable Huda Oreru, Honourable Pendi, Honourable Tamaguzi, Honourable Biga Rose, Honourable Tommy Singo, Honourable Muisha and Pe. Yeah, the Right Honourable Prime Minister. Yes, thank you. Honourable Minister, would you want to justify this motion?
Mr. Speaker, briefly, following the removal of Uganda from the Financial Action Task Force grey list, in February 2024, Uganda was required to delist non-government organizations, churches, and other charitable organizations from Schedule 2 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Cap 118, and in March 2024, the Financial Action Task Force noted with concern that Uganda needed to ensure that oversight on non-profit organizations is risk-based instead of classifying them as obliged entities or accountable persons. This position was also emphasized by the Eastern and Southern Africa Anti-Money Laundering Group, what we call ESAMLAG. And Mr. Speaker, it is upon this background that I invite colleagues to support this motion so that we are able to comply with the FATF requirements and avoid the risk of returning Uganda on the grey list. I beg to move.
Thank you. Very straightforward. Colleagues, I now put the question at the motion for the resolution of Parliament seeking approval to amend Schedule 2 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Cap 118, as presented by the Minister, be adopted. Those in favor sign to the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Congratulations, Honourable Minister. Now go and finish your task. We don't want to be accused of not helping you quickly.